Hey everyone! Thank you for joining me again, or hi if you're new. My name is Shira. I talk about whatever I want. And today, I just wanted to talk about Spanish language romantic comedies that are on Netflix. Basically, you know how sometimes you just want to watch something where you don't have to think about anything, you just want to enjoy the ride, something casual, you know what's gonna happen, you don't really care, you're just vibing. Well, a couple of years ago, Netflix suddenly recommended me a movie, and I was like, sure. And it was in Spanish. I didn't know from, the poster or anything. I really enjoyed the movie. It was super cute, and it just put me in this little rabbit hole, kind of like how the YouTube algorithm it can throw you into a rabbit hole, but a Netflix one, of Spanish language rom-coms. I'm saying Spanish language instead of just Spanish, just because one of the ones I'm going to talk about today is not from Spain. The others are, though. So I'm just giving it the respect it deserves, being that it's not from Spain, but it is in Spanish. Okay, way too much rambling. But yeah, I just wanted to share these movies with you, and if you've watched them before, or if it makes you want to watch them, come back, let me know what you thought about them, and we can have a little chat. So I'm gonna start with my two favorites, and the first one is called How to Get Over a Breakup. And this one is from Peru. It was released in 2018. It tells the story of Maria Faye, whose boyfriend breaks up with her over Skype. And the rest of the movie is spent with seeing her cope with the breakup and, well, how she gets over it. So the title is very efficient that way. It's really colorful and has great characters in both Maria Faye and her friends. And you really want to punch the boyfriend. He's just obnoxious. Yeah. I've watched this one a couple of times, and I really enjoyed it each time I did. There's something really pleasant about the color palette of the movie, and while it's a traditional quirky rom-com with its quirky sidekicks, they're all really fun, and I really highly recommend this one. It's also the movie that made me realize that I cannot for the life of me differentiate between accents in Spanish, because they kept emphasizing over and over certain characters that speak in certain different accents, and I was like, I can't hear it at all. So that's interesting, because I can obviously differentiate between English accents, or accents in English and in French, and even a bit in Japanese, but Spanish eludes me. I really recommend this one. It's a good time. And we all just need a bit of a good time, right? Next up is a Spanish movie from 2020. It's called I Love You, Stupid. And it co-stars the wonderful Natalia Tena, who you might know as Tonks from Harry Potter, or Asha from Game of Thrones. I didn't know that she was completely fluent in Spanish, but here we are. And it's really fun to see her in this manic pixie dream girl role. But our main character in this movie is Marcos. So he loses his girlfriend and his job on the same day. And since he lived with his girlfriend, he also has to move back in with his parents. So it's just a great day for Marcos. With the help of an internet guru and a chance encounter with his childhood friend Raquel, Natalia Tena, he starts to build his life back. So this is another one of my repeat views. I've seen this a couple times now. And like I said, I love Natalia Tena in it. She's just really cute and bubbly, and very much, like I said, manic pixie dream girl, which might not be your cup of tea. It's not ideal, obviously, but, pink hair and cool outfits and she's a tattoo artist. It's the whole package. And it's funny to say that it's refreshing because I can think of a few examples, but it's still interesting when you have a romantic comedy with a male lead and not the male love interest. You know what I mean? It's not uncommon, but it's not the norm, obviously, because romantic comedies are more female-centric, which is great, but sometimes it can be refreshing when, scripts are flipped. So even though there's nothing truly original about the movie, it's still charming and a really fun casual walk. It has heart, has good lessons to learn. So of course it's another one that I recommend, but spoiler alert, I recommend all of these. But yeah, those were my 2 favorites, and then I'm just gonna go quickly over 4 more. These are all Spanish movies, and I've watched them, I think, once each. And while they're not in my repeat views list, they were nice to watch. And if you're running low on your rom-coms stockpile, then it's 4 more to add to it so that you can have those in your pocket or in your stock, I guess. So the next one is Sounds Like Love. This one is from 2021, and it's apparently based on a book, and it stars Maria Valverde as Maca. She's a fashion assistant to an influencer, and she was on the verge of getting over her breakup and is doing pretty well for herself when her ex suddenly comes back and spoils everything. So there are a lot of fourth wall breaks, and you get to follow Maca's friends who have their own issues relating to love. Like I said, I don't love it as much as the previous 2. I think it's trying a bit too hard at some points and doesn't innovate as much as it thinks it does. But I still think it hits the spot for cheesy rom-coms, So, again, add it to the list. Guilt-free. It's fine. Next one is a movie called Crazy About Her, also from 2021. And I was really worried about this movie because I was concerned it was gonna glorify mental illness and turn it into like a quirky, fun thing that cute girls have. The manic pixie dream girl. You see, the plot of this movie is this, right? Adri, I can't do R's. So Adri, he falls in love with Carla after one night of partying. And upon discovering that she is a mental patient, he checks himself into the same psychiatric facility in order to get to know her. So yeah, a worrying plot to say the least. But actually, it doesn't fall into the savior tropes you think it will. Carla is not suddenly cured, and being with Adri doesn't solve all of her problems. The other mental patients are also not treated with disrespect. So it is worth a watch, if only for that refreshing take. The next one I have on my list is Despite Everything. So I think this might have been the first one I watched. It's either that one or the next one. But it does mean that it was definitely good enough for me to continue watching these movies, even if it's not one of my favorites. But to be honest, I don't remember much about it, which is kind of mean because I'm putting it on this list. But it's a Spanish movie from 2019, and it tells the story of 4 sisters who come together for their mother's funeral to find out that their father was not in fact their biological father. So they go on a quest to discover who that or they were. And each sister has her own stuff to deal with, and you get to enjoy all of their stories, separate and together. So again, I enjoyed this movie because I enjoyed all of these movies, but it didn't leave like a strong impact or a terrible need to rewatch. So finally, I'm gonna talk about In Family I Trust. So this one is also from 2019, and it tells the story of Bea, who finds out her boyfriend is cheating on her with a TV reporter. Because of that, she returns to her family home to rediscover herself and figure herself out. I do remember this movie being beautiful to look at and a good watch overall. I remember it having heart, and it's funny to me that both this and Despite Everything are more family-oriented stories than your typical rom-coms of women in vague media-related jobs trying to do it all. Like the other movies on the list. It's worth taking a look if you just want casual viewing, but in Spanish. Something interesting that I did notice while going back to these movies is the prevalence of lesbian characters, which I find it interesting because many rom-coms have the gay best friend trope, but here the gay best friend is a gay woman, so that's kind of, refreshing, interesting, just a fun anecdote to point out. You get to pick. When I think about English-speaking romantic comedies, if you have a gay best friend, it's usually a guy, right? So maybe it's worth diving into deeper if anybody is enjoying gender studies in romantic comedies. So yeah, I don't think any of these movies break the mold or anything. They're not a brand new take on the formula. But sometimes even just a change in scenery or a language or a culture can really hit the spot, So at least that's what it does for me. So let me know if you have any other Spanish language rom-coms you might recommend. I would love to hear about them. And if you've watched any of the ones I mentioned, what did you think about them? I would love to hear about it. Please don't forget to, subscribe, like, and let me know what you think. I would love to hear it. So until next time, bye!